Poem 2, Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. Again, a very short poem composed only in 2 stanzas. Children, before I begin to explain, I would like to tell you something related to the poem. As we all know, we are facing lots of problems nowadays. We all are locked down inside our houses. We are forced to stay inside our houses. We are not supposed to move out of our house. We are maintaining social distances. Why is it happening? Have you ever thought of? The basic reason is because this is all happening because of the pandemic due to the virus, COVID-19 virus. One more example I would like to give you. Last year in Australia, what happened? Fires erupted in New South Wales area in Australia, and that resulted into the destruction, that resulted into the death of many wild animals and many living creatures, due to which the government had to declare a state of emergency in November 2019. So children, have you ever thought of what are the reasons why we are facing such situations one by one after the other? Why is it happening? I would say in the past many years we, the human beings had been spoiling our mother nature. We had been disturbing our mother nature. And now it seems mother nature is taking revenge from the human beings. So we have to stop causing harm to our mother nature. This poem, Fire and Ice, expresses the profound idea that the world would end in either of two ways, either by fire or ice. And both the components are compared with self-destructing human emotions, means hatred and desire. The poem very artistically highlights the philosophy that we let our emotions rule us, and if we don't control them, they will surely destroy everything around us. Similarly, the poet also thinks that fire and ice, both the components, are just equally competent in bringing the world to a catastrophic end, means devastating end. Let's start the poem, Fire and Ice. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. In the first stanza, the poet is talking about two different groups of people. In the first line, he has used some say. So here some is referred to one group of people, and in the second line, some say in ice, some is referred to the second group of people. So according to the poet, he is talking about the possible causes for the end of the world. And according to him, he says that some people think that world will be destroyed due to fire, and some people think that world will be destroyed due to ice. Here the end of the world could mean apocalypse, or as stated in the texts like the Bible, or it could be a celestial happening, or it could be a natural calamity happening on earth itself, like volcanoes or forest fires or the ice age. Or I have just given you an example of the fires erupted in Australia last year. So it could also mean man-made destruction of the world because of man's greed or animosity, leading to global warming or nuclear war. So at the same time, it also points to the collapsing of the world around a person because of his mistakes, owing to similar reasons. So we can say the poet has compared fire and ice to self-destructing emotions. That means he has compared fire to desires, human desires, uncontrolled desires, and ice to hatred or uncontrolled hatred among human beings. The poet knows what it means to have desires, and from his knowledge and experience of this feeling and the havoc it can cause to a person if done in excess, he agrees or he is in favor that desire can be a cause of destruction. So he is in favor of those people, or he is in favor of the first group of people who believe that fire will be the cause of destruction of this world. And fire is used in reference to the animal tendencies in us, like all such emotions are associated with hotness. Like desire could mean ambitions, greed, lust, and we commit mistakes, or so to say sins, in running after our desires. We do not see that it can harm other people, right? So excessive emphasis on desires is what keeps us from experiencing pure joy and bliss. Stanza 2. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. So here in the second stanza, the poet is talking about the possibility. If there had been any possibility of the word to get perished twice, then the poet says that hatred means he has compared ice to hatred. Hatred is taken to be an ice cold emotion. It could also be that he has received this emotion from someone and knows what wrong it can do. Why he has associated hatred with ice? Let's talk about if you have a fit of rage, which is a hot feeling, then it keeps smoldering inside you, and finally you become very impervious to love. You become very indifferent, very uncaring, and devoid of love. Thus, hatred can destroy the humanity in you. If love is lost, everything is lost. Here, perish means die or end of the world, and suffice means be sufficient. So, the poet is saying that though he is in favor of the first group of people, he is in favor of fire, right? He thinks that fire is responsible, or fire may cause lot of destruction and may be the cause of destruction of this world. But at the same time, he admits that ice is equally destructive and it can also bring the entire world to an end. So in short, we can say, to sum up this poem, we can say the poet brings us into the middle of an argument between people who think the world will come to a fiery end and people who think the world will freeze. But intentionally, he is talking about the literal end of the word, about the power that human beings have to harm or destroy one another. Through this poem, the poet has also given us a beautiful message that we should learn how to be happy in our life. Means he's conveying a message that we should not kill ourselves with negative thoughts. We should remove all the negativity from the within, right? And we should keep positive thoughts in our mind. We should keep our desires and hatred in check, because desires can be controlled by being satisfied and happy. And we should strive to keep human values alive. So this is the message given through this poem by the poet. Let's talk about the construe of this poem. The poet is Robert Frost. The theme is two ways or two possible causes for the destruction of the world. Form is rhymed verse. Structure is, as it is shown, the poem is composed in two stanzas, quatrain and quintet. The first stanza structure is quatrain, 4 lines, and quintet, second stanza, 5 lines. Accordingly, the rhyme scheme is, in the first stanza, the rhyme scheme is A, B, A, A. In second stanza, the rhyme scheme will be B, C, B, C, B. The poetic devices which are used in the poem are symbolism. Here, the symbols which have been used by the poet are fire and ice, symbolizing desires and hatred respectively. Second poetic device is imagery. Imagery means the images are formed in your mind when you read the poem. Throughout the poem, imagery is used. Alliteration is used in the first line, some say, some say, S. This is alliteration. And in the fourth line of the first stanza, favor fire. In this line also favor. And last poetic device is anaphora. Anaphora is the repetition of phrase or words, like some say in first and second